Hi there, today's our last day of notes for current electricity. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the cost of energy. So yesterday we talked about Manitoba Hydro and how that power is delivered from hydroelectric dams in northern Manitoba down to us in southern Manitoba. And we talked a little bit about how power is calculated. But now we're going to talk about how the hydroelectric company, so Manitoba Hydro, calculates how much energy we use or power we use, and how much cost we pay per month to heat and light our homes, depending on whether what kind of heat you have in your home. That said, so cost is equal to the power that you use in your home, so lights, TVs, electronics, appliances, whatever it may be, times the time that you use it for, how much, the time the power is on for, times a unit price that's set by Manitoba Hydro. So since the power company measures energy in kilowatt hours, so this is not just watts like we measured power in yesterday, but thousands of watts, that's a kilowatt. The units of power must be in kilowatts and time is in hours. So I think if you have a look at your pink formula sheet, it might say time is in seconds. If you could change that to hours, I would appreciate that, please. So the Energy Efficiency Act and regulations outline the standards for electrical appliances that we use in our home. So each major appliance must be sold with an EnerGuide label that states the estimated yearly or annual energy consumption in kilowatt hours and identifies the most and least energy efficient models in the same category. So this helps the consumer compare efficiencies before purchasing. And this is typically only on your major appliances, things that use lots of energy like your fridge, your dryer, stove, microwave, dishwasher. So again, here at the bottom of the page here, I've written in blue, cost is equal to power times time times that unit price. And again, I've crossed out seconds and written in hours. And I just can't remember if I've changed that on the formula sheets that you have, or if I forgot to change it this year. And I don't have one handy. So again, if it says, oh, maybe I've got one here. Yes, it says seconds. So if you can change it to hours, I would appreciate that, please. So an EnerGuide label looks like the label on the right-hand side of the page. So I'm just going to read through the points on the left side, and then we'll talk a little bit about that EnerGuide label. So the lower the number in kilowatt hours, the better. Okay, so we look here, this number, there's the one beside it. It corresponds with the one on the left. So the lower the number here, the less energy or power your appliance uses a year. So energy consumption indicator shows you how this model compares to other models in its class. So the further to the left, the better. So basically what this bar here says is that this particular appliance falls right here where that green arrow is, this model. So this bar shows you the consumption of the most and the least energy efficient appliances in the class. So in the class means it would have the similar features, similar size, that sort of thing. Because obviously you can't compare a little tabletop fridge or one that you might have in your camper or something to the big fridge that you have in your house. So those wouldn't be in the same class. So it would be kind of similar sized models with similar features. So this bar here, so 2 shows you where your appliance falls. This down here on the bar on the left, 564 kilowatts. So the most energy efficient model in that class uses about 100 kilowatt hours per year less. And the least efficient model in that class uses 972 kilowatt hours. So over 300 kilowatts more per year. So just, it shows you a little bit about, it's kind of, this is a pretty good model. It's towards the left. So the lower this number, the farther towards the left, the better in terms of how much energy it uses. So number 4, this tells you the capacity range of similar models. So if you look, I don't know what this label, I just found it on the internet, so I'm not exactly sure what it came off of, but capacity, so this one would tell you the volume of it. So if it's a fridge or a dryer, how much it can hold. So when you consider buying an appliance, you always check out that EnerGuide label as well as the price tag, because sometimes the cheaper the initial cost is for something like a fridge, if it costs you less to start with, chances are it's going to cost you more to operate year after year. So sometimes we're in a pinch and we don't have a whole lot of extra because our, whatever happened. So you have your budget and you just buy what you can buy that meets your needs in that. But if you're, say, upgrading appliances and you've saved up and you've got a little bit of play there, you might want to make sure that the price is a good price, as well as it's fairly energy efficient. So to calculate the operation cost, you take that Energy Guide rating times the local electricity cost, and you would find that on your hydro bill. Oops, oh my goodness. Okay, sorry. My apologies. I'll just use this scroll bar. So in this case, if the Energy Guide rating was 648 kilowatts used per year and you only paid 6 cents per kilowatt hour, then you can multiply them together to see what you pay in a year. So if you also might want to, look at the lifetime of the appliance. So if you're using this appliance for, 18 years, then you figure out in step 2 and step 3. So step 3 is how much that appliance costs you to run per year. And then step 4, if you multiply it by 18, that's how much that costs to run in its lifetime. So $699.84. So again, if you were, looking at this model and it costs you a little bit more to buy up front, but it costs you way less to run in that lifetime, then it's still a better deal. Sometimes you also want to think it might not cost you that much to run now, because 6 cents per kilowatt hour isn't very much, but your price might increase. So then it might cost you more per year to run. So you might want to think about that as well. The last piece of the puzzle is reading a meter. So outside a lot of houses, you have a hydrometer, and it looks something like the picture on the right here. If you're in an apartment, some apartment buildings will have meters for each apartment, and others, depending on how your rent is set up, your hydro is just included in your rent. So there'd be one meter for the whole building. So if you're around the outside of your house, it's usually like a gray box attached to the outside of your house. So we're looking at the numbers in here to read. So when you're determining the numbers, you need to know if the dial hand is between 2 numbers, you record the lower number. And if the dial is between 9, and again, I've made a correction there, and 0, then 9 is the lower number. So students sometimes say, well, when would I ever use this? This is actually a skill you may use. So here's the dials. Again, this is between 6 and 7, so the lower number is 6. So what this is saying is that we're over 6 million units of power in the lifetime or whatever, but we're not quite at 7 million. So we're 6 million and something. And then this is between 0 and 1, so the lower number is 0. So we're over 0, but we're not quite at 1. 9 and 8, lower number is 8. 6 and 5, the lower number is 5. So when you have this hydrometer on the side of your house, and this records how much power you're using in your house. So when you get your hydro bill, Hydro will actually come out and read your meter every other month. So every other month, whether you've seen them in your backyard or not, the hydro guy comes into your yard, reads your meter, and records that number down. On the months where they don't come out and read your meter, it's actually estimated. So if you used 100 units of power last month, they might estimate that you use 100 units the next month. Now, sometimes that might be a little higher or lower than what you actually use, but the following month, it evens out. If you don't want them to estimate your power, you can actually go out and read your meter and phone in with your meter number that's highlighted up here. You can actually phone in your energy consumption. So you read your meter, you phone it in, and then you only pay the power for that particular month. So this is a skill that you actually might use if you were paying your hydro bill. Now that said, this is pretty simple. You look at where the line is. If it's between 2 numbers, you pick the lower number. This one is so simple that students often forget how to do it by the time it comes to the quiz. So just make sure you've got that. Anyway, I hope that's helpful, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.